Hey everyone, Kabaji back again with another Roguetech tutorial. If you watched my last video about accuracy, hopefully you should no longer be getting carbonized like a breakfast pastry that got stuck in the toaster. And if that's the case, then you have also managed to move on to that time-honored gaming tradition dopamine rush of picking over your enemy's corpse for that sweet, sweet loot. Although now that I think about it, sometimes your enemy's corpse is the loot, especially in Battletech. I've also been playing this game in my spare time as well. It too has me salvaging the remains of my opponents to grow my army. Surely that's just a coincidence and not a problem to worry about, right? Yeah, we good fam. Thing is, with Roguetech adding so much to the base game of Battletech, the glut of options may leave your head spinning. Nobody wants to be that Catan player who thinks for 5 minutes after the roll about whether to ask if anybody has any sheep for his wood. If you are following my previous advice, you are already looking for weapon FCS and pulse lasers. But these items won't drop every mission. So here is a short list of high priority items I think you should be on the lookout for as your company continues to grow. These are items that I believe fit into most every playstyle, whether you prefer to glass your enemies from afar, or relive your classic 80s experience of pummeling your little brother and rock'em sock'em robots. A quick preface before we get to the meat. XL engines, Endosteel, and ferrofibrous armor are solid picks. However, they are generally expensive to install, somewhat limiting their usefulness early in your career, and you will find them pretty regularly. While not the awesomeness that is the optical systems, don't sleep on the more basic version of the Mark 1, 2, and 3 zooms. Night vision is great, as the penalty to hit in darkness is pretty awful, so you should absolutely be taking the optics when you find them. However, that doesn't mean that you should pass on the zooms, especially early game. A +1 accuracy in a specialist slot is amazing tonnage-free kit, and you might be surprised how often negating no visual comes up. Spoiler, it's pretty often. That ability gives you increased freedom in positioning, allowing you to, say, take a forest hex instead of standing out in the open, or move behind a rock formation and still shoot freely. This makes the zoom not just a piece of offensive kit, but defensive as well, which in Roguetech you generally will pay some sort of premium for, usually in weight. Especially if you are a player that likes to run mechs that are on the lighter side, you will absolutely benefit from moving these items up the priority list. I don't think I would take it over something like your first large X-Pulse laser or double sync kit when you are still running singles, but I would grade it solidly in the second or third pick range for loot. Scopes are good. X-ray vision is even better. Speaking of sync kits, I'd wager that most anyone with any experience in the Battletech IP is familiar with the power of upgrading your mech from single to double syncs. So that beautiful blue bar appearing in your loot list is a neon sign for a 5-figure discount. They are a relatively rare drop early on, so it can be a few missions before you are able to outfit your unit entirely with double syncs. In the meantime, I strongly recommend not passing completely on the individual double syncs that drop from Lost Tech's mechs that don't give up the full goods. You don't want to find yourself in a situation where you're actually unable to use a shiny new double sync kit. Far too often in construction, you will wish you had a few spare doubles in the storage bay. Mechs running an engine below a 250 need extra syncs to qualify for that 10 sync minimum, not to mention the sheer cooling power an additional double or two would do for that blistering hot energy boat. Picking individual syncs, especially before you have found a double kit, may not have the pizzazz of that large pulse laser, but if you ignore them too often, your new toy is only going to be deadweight on the field due to heat issues. Where SRMs are paragons of damage, and LRMs have legendary meme value, don't let middle child syndrome impact your opinion of the medium-range missile family. These systems have the same power projection as their longer cousins with significant weight savings. MRMs do have an accuracy penalty associated with their use, but that's why you should hopefully pair the launcher with the improved MRM ammo for a net bonus to accuracy overall. They also boast the most useful range bracketing of the 3 basic missile systems for Roguetech play. SRMs spend too much time being deadweight waiting to enter useful range, and you don't usually need the extreme brackets of the LRM. Yes, you lose access to indirect fire, but let's be real. Unless you are making a 300 machinima, the most reliable goal you will accomplish firing indirectly is the abrupt vacating of the local wildlife from their native area. No, I don't want to hear about augmented thunder. If you are at the point of understanding how and when to employ that weapon system, this is not the video for you. A bird must learn to fly before it can shit on park statues. Related to my previous point, keep an eye out for specialized ammo for your guns and missile tubes. I'll admit, this can be completely overwhelming in the middle game due to the sheer quantity of ammo types appearing in the bottom of your loot list, but there are a few standouts that I believe you will want to have in your pocket if your company is a connoisseur of the associated weapon. As previously mentioned, the improved MRM ammo is fantastic for its monstrous +2 accuracy bonus. but there are similar versions for the other launchers as well, designated L-K, or Listen Kill, SRM, and LRM ammo, which add 1 point of accuracy when used. Artemis 4 ammo is for those who always prefer to fight in the shade, though don't forget you will need an appropriate RD4 FCS in order to equip these bad boys on your mechs. Acid, or AX ammo, has a small penalty to hit when used, but it obliterates armor and stacks a debuff on the target that will cause it to take additional damage. Very useful for chugging through those occasional over-armored beasts on the battlefield. And for those of us who prefer to announce our presence with large boomsticks, double bins are almost universally useful, and these ammo hogs require quite the meal to stay satisfied. Of special mention here is the option of caseless ammo, which is a double bin for only a single ton, though it does come with a jam chance modifier. Still, it's possible to mitigate with gunnery boosts, and of course sometimes it's just a necessary choice to fit all of your gear on your mech while still having enough ammo to last the fight. This mod's strength is a bit more obvious, and thus likely more readily noticed by the community, but I wanted to put it in anyway. Accuracy is king, and a Gunnery Support B mod gives you more of it, and basically a free slot upgrade for your mech. Extra gunnery not only makes you more accurate, but reduces your jam chance on the myriad of weapons that have that, feature. It can get buried among the otherwise useless primitive and standard cockpits on your loot screen, so you'll want to keep a sharp eye out for this rare mod. I specify the Gunnery B module for 2 reasons. 1, in over 200 hours of play I've never seen the Gunnery Support A module, and 2, because there was no way I could make a list of powerful equipment and leave this baby off. The Cockpit Small Advanced is yet another source of free tonnage. The Cockpit normally takes a slot in a ton, and this remedies the latter. That extra ton could be anything. More ammo, a sync, some jets, ECM or AMS, or even just an extra medium laser. All good options. It also removes the Life Support A mod from the head of your mech, giving you an extra slot to boot. However, like I just said, it removes the A mod, which is the second reason why I specified Gunnery Support B earlier. If you are using this, you won't want to pick up many A mods. Do not sleep on this piece of kit. It is rare enough, and in my opinion powerful enough, to be your first salvage pick on a loot screen. The only thing I have pulled the Cockpit Small Advanced out of my mech for is the Clan Enhanced Imaging mod, which you may not ever see. Okay, so that was 6. I'm not changing the title. Sometimes you get a little extra cheese on your pizza, making your day just that much brighter. Though if you have a little extra cheese on your taco, you might want to get that checked out. So what do you think of this list? Is there a different item you believe deserves a slot? Let me know in the comments below. I'm Gubaji. Keep those eyes peeled on your next loot screen, and I'll see you on the flip side.
Target eliminated.